From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a major night here on Evenings LALATE as lifetime stimulus heats up. Your big raise of your benefits and the big news of 7 new categories of stimulus check that added to the 3 categories we've been featuring since the month of March. 10 categories of checks, you're going to need them because earnings recession heated up today as Zoom plummeted. Massive miss on top and bottom. Well, the latest details across the board. Why the week is heating up with the anticipation of Friday. And the Federal Reserve's chairman speaking on Friday. That's why the Wall Street stock market crashed yesterday, and that's why it was down today. Labor, another major report released today that 50% of employers believe they're going to lay you off this year. All the latest details you need to know. And the big benefit raise. We have new labor numbers, new inflationary numbers today that give us guidance about how much your benefits are going to go up. Huge sums of money, at least $5,000 for some of you. All the latest details tonight on Evenings. New data from the housing industry as that housing recession continues to grow. Missing on the existing home sales, dropping on the new home starts, and what you need to know. Those inflationary numbers growing left and right, and those stimulus checks growing as well. But the major story we're working on tonight is a story that I've featured on this channel since at least February 2022. At the time, I said the president was going to forgive individuals' student loan debts, federal student loan debts, who make $150,000 or less. $10,000 will be the forgiveness, and that he was basically waiting for the announcement publicly to be offered. Well, yesterday the White House said the announcement will come by August 31st in just a few days. Then today, NBC reported, my story is very exclusive. Well, you know, just remember where you heard it first on this channel back in the month of February. We'll go over the latest details you need to know tonight. Plus, we'll be looking at why Wall Street crashed yesterday, why I predicted that on this channel over the last week. It all goes back to Jay Powell and that speech this Friday at Jackson Hole. It's a big night for the shores of Santa Monica, California. Got a lot going on tonight in this broadcast. Your economy, your recession, your inflation, your benefit raise, your housing market, your unemployment, and your forced stimulus. The breaking news starts right here, right now, as Evening LA gets underway. And good evening, everybody, from the shores of Santa Monica, California for an August 23rd, 2022. The day starts exactly how we thought it would. And we go over the latest details tonight across the board. Yesterday, something happened that I predicted last week, and today something happened which I predicted in the month of February. What's the breaking news we start with tonight? First, the stock market crash. Last week, I predicted that the stock market would crash because the Wall Street stock traders had not embedded the risk into the markets of more interest rate spikes from Jay Powell, Federal Reserve, and his governors after the month of September. I've been saying for a long time that the Fed governors have made it very clear they're going to have interest rate spikes in September and thereafter until they get inflation down to their target number of 2%. And that those interest rate spikes, they said, would be the same as what they've done in recent meetings in the month of July and also in June, 75 basis point. But Wall Street had ignored that and said over the last 2 weeks, September will be the last interest rate spike. I said this is a big problem, and I said Wall Street's going to have a major stock market crash because they've not embedded the risk into the market of more interest rate spikes from the Fed governors after September. And on Monday, the stock market crashed 650 points. Today, it continued to crash another 150 points, and also the NASDAQ as well, because they made a very calculated error, which is to assume the Fed governors would do something different than they said. It's sort of like when Mitch says he's going to wear lobster shorts. Are you betting against it? When I said there's no bacon in set, are you going to look at me and say, but there is? And when you wave at the check, do you expect the check to wave back at you? Of course not. So that is why we saw that coming a mile away last weekend on this channel. There was going to be a stock market crash because they had not embedded the risk into the market of more interest rate spikes. And this Friday, Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, will be speaking in Jackson Hole, and he will be saying exactly what you know he thinks he'll be saying. Interest rate spikes will be continuing after the month of September until we get inflation down to our target of 2%, and then we're likely to stay at the current interest rate spikes of 75 basis points. That was number one. Number two then came in today, Tuesday, and we saw this on this channel back in February. In fact, I recorded it every single video of Evenings LALATE on this channel since the month of February. What I've been saying every single night since the month of February, the President of the United States, Joe Biden, had made a determination since at least February that he's going to forgive $10,000 of student loan debts for individuals who have a federal student loan debt and who make $150,000 or less. And yet he was going to continue to meet with advocates who wanted more, but yet he internally had already made that determination of $10,000 for individuals making $150,000. I've been recording that every single night on this channel since February. And today what NBC report? Today, NBC reported in a exclusive that he's going to forgive $10,000 for individuals making $150,000 less. Okay. It's nice they got around to the story on August 23rd, 2022. So what do we also know in the last 24 hours? In the last 24 hours, it really changed dramatically. Last night on this channel, I reported that the president was going to roll this over, not decide and not make the announcement until right before the midterm elections. Well, right after that recording, the press secretary for Joe Biden came out and said, no, he's actually going to announce his determination before August 31st. So is there anything unique in the NBC story than what the press secretary said and what I've been saying? No. The NBC story basically says it'll be by Wednesday, which is the 24th, instead of by the 31st. Big deal. Not much of an exclusive there at all. But that is the two major stories which I've been telling you would happen, and they're both happening within 48 hours of this channel. The other major story that's happening tonight, of course, is what happened with Zoom. Zoom is a part of the situation for those earnings recessions, and it's not good. Earnings for the first and second quarter of 2022 are basically almost wrapped up. But today, Zoom was one of the last companies to report earnings. And boy, it was not a good situation. Zoom did not zoom in their earnings. They missed on top and bottom, revenue and net profits. And the stock was down 14%. Now, Macy's and also Nordstrom's have been featured on this channel a lot since January. And what have we seen? You're back at work, you're off of lockdown, you're off of Zoom chats, working remotely in 2021, and you need a nice suit or those nice shoes, and you're buying at Nordstrom's and Macy's, and that's why their stocks have done well. So when Macy's reported corporate earnings today for the second quarter, what did you expect? A beat? Well, you got it right if that's what you expected. Stock was up 4% on the news. If you're expecting that people now, after lockdown are over, are not spending as much time camping, unless you're that one viewer who glam camped last week. You know who she is. Unless you're that viewer, then you would have betted that Dick's Sporting Goods would have missed today. It didn't. The stock was up 2%. And then if you think people are dating a little bit less, well, that stock was up 3.8% as well, JD. Finally, if you're smuckering a little bit more now that the pandemic's over, then you got that one right. Smuckers, JM Smuckers, the delicious fruit product, not the smuckering, was up 3% across the board. Wow, what a day it is. Now, the other major story that happened today was a real shocker. When I heard it, when I read it on Afternoons in LA, I just had to stare at it. And it really just wants to make you wiggle in your shoes or your lobster shorts. The story is out of an analyst report that says that 50% of employers believe that they will be laying you off by the end of the year. Excuse me? Excuse me? Am I going anywhere? Is Sirloin getting fired? This is just shocking. 50% of employers believe they're going to be laying you off by the end of the year. just no bueno. I think Sirloin is going to crash the set any time too and saying, have I been laid off? Of course, this Thursday we see the unemployment numbers, and that will be likely hover where it is. It went from 260 to 250 last week. Not much change. This is still the second highest number of the year. The other major story today is really interesting. It comes for you and your benefits. What is that story? It is about rent. A new fascinating report today about rent is critical for your benefits. How does that work? Well, rent is 30% of the inflationary number that determines how much your benefits go up. That is a domino effect right there. Let's say that again. Rent is 30% of the CPI and the CPI-W that determines how much your benefits go up. And the number coming in for rent today is fascinating. For the month in June and July, the rent rose 0.8%, so it's less than 1%. It's relatively flat. On an annualized basis, it's coming down a little bit. On an annualized basis, it was up 13.8% in the month of June. In the month of July, it was up 12.2%. So this is interesting for your benefits because we want to see inflation stay the same or go up to lock in this lifetime of money. I'll go over that in just a second. Here's the comment about why rent is going down in some places. The Sun Belt never had COVID discounts. The West Coast never had lobster discounts either. That comment is from Alexander Gorfarb, managing director at Piper Sandler. Everyone says people are just willing to pay more in the city, but we found the Sun Belt is that it grew faster and rent stayed a percentage of income. So people are just willing to pay more across the board. Wow. So have you seen rent go down where you are? Post in the live chat. I've not seen rent go down in Southern California at all. It may be flat compared to the month of June, but it ain't going down. We'll go back to this and how this impacts your benefits in just a second. Housing got major details today as well. Housing is indication of your benefits, is also indication of inflation, is indication of recession. The data coming in for housing is much what you would expect. Housing is in a recession. We've been seeing that on this channel for several weeks. The data coming in for housing today, not much better. What have we seen for housing since the month of June and July? Housing had a big problem. That housing problem started when existing home sales missed in the month of July. New home sale starts missed, and builders' confidence fell dramatically. What is the details and the data tonight? Some of it is summary. I'll tell you, some of it is not from just tonight. It's basically summarizing stuff we see in the last 48 hours or 72 hours. The comments coming in from the National Association of Realtors, chief economist Lawrence Yun, who I featured on this channel a lot, said we're witnessing a housing recession in terms of declining home sales and home building. He said no one's building and home sales are down. How much are they down? Existing home sales are down 5.8% in the month of July compared to the month of June, the 6 month of decline, and it's down 20% year to date. Builder sentiment is down. Builders contract cancellations is up 5.2%, and this is the highest level we've seen this year. Prices still rising in near markets, but inventory is really going left and right. Buyers should expect a little bit better price negotiations, possibly. It's not like there's a short-term lock of inventory from 2021. We're seeing continuancy, says Stephen Rinaldi at the Rinaldi Group as well. Wow, what a lot across the board. Now, this is big news for your benefits. Your benefits are going up a lot. And we've been tracking this inflation. We will be tracking the data coming in this month with the new CPI, PPI, and retail sales number. And before that, what do we get? The Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, which gives you an indication of inflation. But let's go over where that inflation is tonight, how this impacts your benefits, and how much your benefits are going up across the board. We start with understanding that inflation. Inflation has gone higher. In the month of May, it was a whopping 8.6%. In the month of June, it went even higher. This impacts your benefits. We'll explain why in just a second. Let's go over those numbers. May, the CPI was 8.6%. Consumer Price Index, how much you pay for products like milk and eggs, CPI. Wow, June went to 9.1%. So we were watching this number last week. Last month, the CPI beat, the PPI, which is what the wholesaler, like the market, what the market buys for the milk and eggs, and the retail sales all beat across the board. Well, tonight it's huge news because you're getting a lifetime stimulus. Why a lifetime stimulus? How does this work and what's at issue? What this means is that once your benefits go up, they never go down. Example, let's say your benefits go up 10% this year. It's not just this year, it's a lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. If inflation is 2% next year, then you'll get 2% on top of 10% next year. How much your benefits go up? We'll do that calculation in just a second. But this is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. And we'll go over how much, the calculation, and more about that in just a second. But first, let's go over why inflation is so important as part of this equation. Your benefits are determined by a number called COLA, C-O-L-A. It's the law. And COLA is determined by another number, the CPI-W. Yes, it's a subsection of the CPI. It's determining your COLA based on 3 months of data only. The CPI-W in the month of July, released last week, August 10th. The August number released September 10th, and the September number released October 10th. We understood that inflation was really high in May and June. So we want inflation to stay where it is or higher in July, August, and September. So what happened last week? On August 10th, you tuned in and we saw that CPI released for July. And the headline number, the summary number, the CPI summary number, was a little bit less, about an 8.5%, about a half a percentage point down, not much of a move. But when you looked at the component parts, the subcategories, they were up compared to the prior month of June. Rent, 30% of the CPI up. Salaries up. Milk and eggs, which includes consumer goods, up. So why was the number down? Because of gasoline. So, do we really need to watch 2 more months of data? Well, to have the official announcement, of course we do. But we have a lot of data before that, and we have a lot of eyes and ears also as well. Number one, we have the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index released just some days from now. It's a big CPI print. It's a big pre-CPI print. Gives you an indication of inflation before we have the next CPI number. Number two, you can see the milk and eggs in the supermarket. Are they about the same price? Are they going up? Are they stabilized? Or are they going down? You can see the gasoline. You can see the rent and more. That report we just went over shows that the rent may be coming down a little bit. Salaries stabilized. Rent may be stabilized otherwise in some of those states. And then the milk and eggs, there's no indication they're going down whatsoever. So that's where we want it to be. All right, so now let's go into your benefits. Are your benefits going up? Absolutely. Because that CPI print last week was 8.5%, and that CPI is not going down dramatically in the next 2 months. It may not go down at all. Last night on this channel, I featured England. And the breaking news out of England, whose economy is related to ours, and they're very symbiotic to our economy as well. England's economists now believe that their inflation is going to go to a whopping 18% in January of next year. How is Jay Powell getting our inflation down to 2% if a symbiotic relationship country is going the other way to 18%? Ultimately, that's up for you to decide in tonight's recording. But let's go back to those benefits and what's at issue. So, direct deposit, yes. Otherwise in the mail. Automatically, yes. You don't have to do anything. Law, yes. Absolutely going to happen. 5,000, no. Some of you more, some of you less. Same percentage raise, absolutely. So we need to see 2 more months of data, but we don't have to actually see the data. If you and I can analyze it in the supermarket, the gas station, and also in the salaries and rent. What are some of the analysts saying? The Seniors League released last week, based upon, let's listen to those numbers, an 8.5% CPI released last week, the first of those 3 months. They said based upon that 8.5% CPI, your benefits are going up 10.1%. 8.5 CPI, 10.1% raise. Do I agree with that, or do I think it's more? Jump on the live chat. Do you think it's more or less? I think it's more. I really do. I think it's more because gasoline, which is reason why the headline CPI went down last week, is actually going up. And it's likely to go up as well. It has tracked the international price of Brent crude up from 92 to 98 in the last 3 days. Yes, the AAA national average of gasoline, how much you pay at the pump, has gone down. If you're in the membership newsletter nightly, you can see this around the second, third line. I don't believe the rent nationwide is going down. I think it's stabilized. Some places may be going higher. Salary stabilized. I don't think it's going down anytime soon. Milk and eggs, there's no indication it's going down. It may be stabilized, but it certainly is not going down. And the consumer products across the board. So there you go. If you agree with me, then you believe that we're in a good circumstance for these benefit raises. Remember, this is lifetime. This is lifetime stimulus. And in the big second half, we're going to go over those 7 new categories of stimulus checks. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Barrel, Casino VIP. When you become a member, these 10 categories of checks are in the membership newsletter. You go down the membership newsletter, and I go through those incredible checks with you in the big second half. 3 checks, 3 categories of check, A, B, and C, became law in the month of March. Viewers have been getting them ever since. $100,000. We'll go over those incredible checks in the big second half. 7 new categories of checks became law by Congress 2 Sundays ago, featured on this channel, and people have been pouncing in these big checks across the board. In the big second half, we're going to go over this money. Meantime, what are we looking at this week across the board? We're looking at Jackson Hole Conference from Jay Powell on Friday. And that is why Wall Street crashed yesterday, because they understood they had not embedded that risk into the market of more interest rate spikes. We're going to see whether the stocks continue to track downward, and they are. They're really tracking downward, not so much because of those earnings, but because that they really did not embed into the risk of the market's weaker situation with interest rate spikes. We'll be looking on Thursday morning, early on Mornings LALATE, of the latest unemployment claims. What am I predicting? I'm predicting it stays about the same. It was a 250 last week. I got it wrong when I said it was going to go from 260 to 265. I'm predicting it stays about the same. What do you think? Do you think it's going to go higher? Jump in the live chat and post your comment as well. In the big second half, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go over all those incredible stimulus checks one at a time. We're going to go over check A, B, and C one at a time. Then we'll go over to those 7 new categories of checks. Then we'll analyze the recession. This is very important. We'll go through the membership newsletter. We'll go through these new stimulus checks. We'll go through the lifetime stimulus, and we'll go through the worksheets, which everyone is getting very excited about. We're going to see some new success stories you've never heard before on this channel, and we'll get ready for Friday with Jackson Hole of Jay Powell. More about that in just a second. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. And the big second half, we'll go over all these incredible checks. Stay informed, safe with me. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Evenings LALATE continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. They're Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in a big second half for August 23rd, 2022, from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Hope you're having a beautiful week and look forward to seeing you in all the live chats on LA1, LA2, and yes, LA3. In this big second half, we're going to go over those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state, starting with check A, B, and C, and then jumping into checks E through K. 10 categories of checks. So much excitement. Did you become a member? Make sure you do. Go under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Don't forget to become a member. And yes, welcome to Paul, who became yesterday the first double hawk on the LATE family of channels. He became a double hawk. I can't believe it. He became a hawk on LA2. He was already a hawk on LA1. Wow, exciting news across the board. These four stimulus checks are huge. Let's go over the first three checks. Back in the month of March, the President of the United States did a series of executive actions that established check A, B, and C. Viewers have been getting them ever since, and I've been featuring them in the membership newsletter for viewers and members check A, B, and C since the month of March. Viewers said, "LA, can you find me some checks?" I did. And the three focuses for me and you were the following. Number one, I won big sums of money. In February, I was the only financial broadcaster reporting that we would have a recession, a 2-year recession. And I wanted to make sure you have a lot of money because it's a 2-year recession. $100,000 across these three checks. We got it. Number two, broad eligibility. We got it as well. Single individual, $75,000 less. Go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less. Go get it. If you rent, if you own it, if you have children, if you don't have children, go get it. It ease to get it in a membership newsletter. Number three, I want to make sure it's easy for you to get it. You go right in that membership newsletter, delivered to you Monday through Friday via the YouTube alerts, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go down to apply for check A, go down to apply for check B, and go down to apply for check C. And now, as of last weekend, go get some E2K. So simple. And with that, let's go over each of these incredible checks one at a time. And we'll go over through the newsletter as well. The wonderful checks start with, of course, check A, $6,500 to $12,000. It's the Weatherizing Grant check, and Spelly got it about a week and a half ago. Let's look at it right now. $6,500 to $12,000, a four stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. And if you're on benefits, go get it as well. How do you get it? Step one, become a member. Go right in this video and join the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you have all alerts to set all on. And then go down the membership newsletter till you find check A. There it is. Click the link. Go right and apply. Choose your state. Choose the Weatherizing Grant and go get it. And next, you're going to go get check B. Check B is $15,000 to $80,000. Yes, some people are getting more than $80,000. It is for your home. A single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. After you're on benefits, go get it as well. How do you get it? Become a member. Become a member. Join this channel under the video where it says join this channel. Join LA1 and join LA2, or join LA3 or join more than one of them. Go down and join this channel. Then get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go down the newsletter, you find check B. There it is. Click the link and go right in and get the money. Choose your state and you're rocking and rolling. Check A, $12,000. Check B, $80,000. That's $100,000 right there. We're not done. We're going to go get check C. Check C is huge. It is about $24,000 to $45,000. Yes, some people have gotten more money. And it's for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. We've been featuring this on this channel for a long time. Become a member, get that newsletter, and go down where it says check C. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. Now, remember that these are categories of checks. Check C, viewers are averaging about 14 months of these items now in check C. 14 months. And they're getting rent and utilities, a mortgage and utilities. So let's do the calculation. 14 months are averaging right now on payouts. 4 to 5 checks a month, let's say 5 times 14. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a lot of checks. And in the membership newsletter, there's 12 places to reach out for check C alone. 12 times 14 times 5, that's a lot of checks to go apply for. Over to check B. Yeah, viewers are getting about 14 months times about 4 to 5 checks. That's a lot of checks. And that is just the category checks. Check A, that's only one check. In a second, we're going to go over check E to K. That's 7 new categories of checks. So it's not 10 checks. It's 10 categories of checks, and you have about 200 different checks that you can get paid out from even more than 200 locations. Now, what are check A and B and C? They're federal stimulus. They're paid by the federal governments, not from your state. State never gave you a federal stimulus check. That federal stimulus check you got in the mail from the Department of Treasury, from the U.S. Department of Treasury, it did not have a seal on it from your state. It did not have a seal on it from your state. It had the U.S. Department of Treasury, not the state Department of Treasury. And people keep on saying, my state, my state. Your state never paid your stimulus. It was always from the federal government in the massive sums of money. And I don't know where these questions about the state came from. It always, the big payouts were from the federal government. Now, to understand this even more, I got a graphic so you understand where check A, B, and C are from. These incredible checks are from the federal government. They became law in the month of March by executive action. That's federal. About $100,000. You qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. How do you get it? You become a member. Then go down that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to get these incredible checks. Again, it's federal stimulus from the federal government. It ain't paid by your state. It's not coming from your state. And this is just check A, B, and C, approximately $100,000. Viewers have been getting it since the month of March. You should do it as well. Now, check C, viewers have been getting not since the month of March. They've been getting it for nearly 2 years. Why? Because it's the residue of a third stimulus. So let's look at these incredible success stories. This for rent. You want this for rent? Go get check C. Look at these incredible sums of money. $30,000. Wow. Mark got this for utilities, but his brother-in-law got $15,000. Snap. Incredible. Look at these numbers. From $5,000 all the way up to $18,000, Mark's brother-in-law is getting $250,000 over 10 years because he watched this channel. Look at the combinations of checks. Wow. Nisi was $23,000, then she went to $50,000. Mark was at $32,000, then he went to $166,000. This was early on. He went to 50, then he went to 100. He got check B. And Lorraine was at 105, then she went to 166. My goodness, that's a lot of money. That is check A, B, and C. Federal stimulus, federal government, executive action, Joe Biden, March. Last weekend, not last weekend, the Sunday before that, 7 new categories of checks from Congress. Again, federal stimulus. Check E to K, they're labeled on this channel. $7,500 is check E. Check F, $4,000. Check G, 30% off. Check H, $2,000. Check I and J, $8,000. Check K, $14,000. In the membership newsletter, the first few lines are gasoline tonight, wheat and corn. Fourth line is the membership worksheets. Then after that is check A. Then after that B, then C, then these E to K. Become a member, get these incredible, huge categories of checks across the board. Your energy secretary appeared on broadcast news on Sunday. You know what she said? It was like you were hearing me. She said, if you want money for this, we'll pay it. Go get it. If you want money for this, we'll pay it. Go get it. And if you want money for this, go get it. We'll pay it. That's exactly what we've been featured on this channel for 2 years. Purple Power Pounce. Pounce is not a passive verb, is an active verb. It means you pounce, you go get the money, go get it. I've had people going and get money on this channel since day one, getting EIDL, PPP, all these sums of money. And these 10 categories of checks, they keep on getting better. That's why you want to become a member, stay a member. So what do? You go onto this video, subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Number 2, you go into this video, join the channel, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. And number 3, hit that alert button so that it's set to all notifications. If you're a member of LATE 1, LATE 2, or LATE 3, you get the newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And one of the benefits of being a member is this. In the newsletter is also the worksheets. It's right down after the price of gasoline at the very top of the newsletter nightly. And in those worksheets are 7 pages, approximately a PDF. You can print them out. And tonight we have a lot more to know about what to put in those worksheets. Page 1, inflation. What do we know tonight? We have that comment by the Citibank executive analyst yesterday that said England will have an 18.2% inflation by January. My goodness, that is a shocking disparity. What we're hoping we have here, at least from Jay Powell, 2% by December. Well, no more about inflation in the United States this Friday, but the reason why Wall Street crashed 700 points yesterday and 100 points today is exactly what I said was going to happen. I said they're going to crash all last week, especially last Saturday and Sunday, because they've not embedded the risk into the markets that the Federal Reserve would do exactly as I reported and exactly as they've been saying. Interest rate spikes until they have inflation to 2%. The same interest rate spikes that they had in prior meetings. Of course, June and July, 75 basis points. Wall Street was betting on another event, and when they betted wrongly against the Fed governors who are actually telling you what they're going to say, then they got nervous, and that's why they crashed. Jay Powell will be speaking on Friday about those interest rate spikes. You can put that on the Federal Reserve. Again, I'm predicting the Federal Reserve will have 75 basis point in September all the way to December. Labor, wow, that's shocking report. 50% of employees believe you're going to get laid off by the end of the year. Sirloin is calling to make sure his job is secure. And yes, Sirloin is joining LA too. We'll have more about that later in this recording. The next page of the worksheets, wow. Let's go over this page. Now remember, check A is one check, but B, 14 months times 5 checks a month. Check C, same thing, but 12 places to reach out to. Check E through K, 7 categories of checks. It's a lot of checks. It's about 200 checks. I've calculated it out. In this second page of the PDF, you have only about 20 rows. So that's how quickly this channel expanded with more checks for you. You want to print out more pages of this or just take more notes. You want to take notes of where you apply for it. This page has been a big game changer for viewers. Last weekend, a viewer got 14 months of rent. The day before that, another viewer got 14 months of rent. And the day before that, a viewer got 12 months of utilities. Yeah, viewers are averaging 14 to 12 months. Lynn Glenn got lots of months of rent, she tells me. And another viewer got weatherizing money middle of last week. If you've had a success story on this channel, even if it wasn't just this today or just a few days earlier, send it to me on private message on facebook.com/LA News. The next page of the worksheet is that benefit raise. Seniors League 10.1%. I think it's a little conservative. You can run the numbers and put it into that table on that next page. Gasoline. Is gasoline going down or up? This is interesting. So the domestic unleaded AAA national average has gone down every single night on this channel. Every night goes down to 20 cents. But the Brent crude is going up. Ultimately, the Brent crude controls. Oil traders believe it's going to go up. So while the price of the pump is down, it may not stay that way. And then finally, student loan debt forgiveness. You know why I'm laughing. I've been reporting this since February. The president's going to forgive $10,000 for an individual making $150,000 less. And that NBC reporting as exclusive tonight. Well, the White House is also saying that he'll make the determination by August 31st. The only part of the NBC exclusive that you haven't heard on this channel is they're saying it's by Wednesday, not by the 31st. Well, so much for that exclusive. I should say exclusive. The president's already forgiven student loan debts for individuals making $150,000 less. Has already forgiven debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, people who went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, and people who became disabled, and people who were defrauded by the universities. Ultimately, if you go to the Department of Education's website or you watch the press secretary and she says Joe Biden has a press conference on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or next week around the 31st, you know it's that announcement. Let's turn to Jay Powell. Let's turn to Wall Street. And this will really set up the final minutes of this recording, which is so critical. Jay Powell and the Fed governors do it a certain way. They've been doing it as Fed governors, and prior Fed governors have done the same way as well, which is they guide you. They give you indication what they're doing before they do it. Why? They don't want to shock the markets. Now, let's say that again. They don't want to shock the markets. Now, ultimately, if they tell you what they're doing, you would assume the markets listen and that the markets are not shocked. Well, this week it was the reverse. The Fed governors Bowman, Bullard, and Daly told you and told Wall Street over the last month what they're going to do. The statements were the same. We're going to stay at interest rate spikes and continue interest rate spikes indefinitely until we get inflation to 2%. We're not going to stop. And we're likely to have the same interest rate spike we had at the prior two meetings. That's pretty very blunt, clear, can't be twisted words. I mean, that's pretty very obvious. I mean, a high school student wouldn't understand this, maybe in a grade schooler. It's very, very basic. This is what someone tells you. Listen, and if you comprehend it, then just repeat it back. Well, what did Wall Street say over the last 2 weeks? Who spoke? If they spoke, just sort of ignore it and just listen to me. I'm going to do another version of the story. Excuse me? Yeah, Wall Street basically said we're going to throw away what Jay Powell and team are saying. The Federal Reserve can't keep on doing it. They're going to pivot and do something different. And that they would be done with those interest rate spikes by October. That sort of takes the whole history of the Federal Reserve for decades and throws it out. It says the Federal Reserve is going to do something differently. They're not going to give you guidance on what they're going to do. The guidance they're giving you is wrong. They're basically giving you wrong guidance on purpose. And so that is why I was deeply worried last week. And I said, I got to tell you, there's too many people on Wall Street that are doing the reverse of what the Federal Reserve wants you to do. The Federal Reserve wants you to hear what they're saying and not be shocked when they do it the next time they announce the results of a meeting. I'm going to do this. I want you to be prepared for the announcement. I don't want you to be shocked. Wall Street, I'm not going to listen to what you're saying. And I know you're going to do something different than what you're saying, and I'm not going to be shocked. And that's what happened on Monday. Wall Street said, you know what? When did we do this? Who started this crazy alternate universe? The Fed governors have told us what they're going to do. Why are we betting against their words? Why are we presuming the Fed governors are telling us an untrue statement? Just presume what they're telling us is true and go with it. Now, if this is any more obvious, let me explain to you how this is more obvious. No one in their right mind believes inflation is staying at 8%. I mean, no one in their right mind thinks the Fed governors, whose job is first to have maximum employment and also price stability with inflation, is going to leave inflation at 8%. No Fed governor would ever do that. It's just that they're hired to get inflation under control. Why would they leave it around at 8.5%? So that was crazy with Wall Street. Number two, why did Wall Street think that inflation would stay at 8.5% or come down by itself? Now, that will require someone to basically say that the recession is going to remove inflation. But remember, they're talking about October. No recession is going to bring inflation from 8% to 2% in 30 days. That also doesn't make sense across the board. So no matter how many times I try to do this, I can't make sense of the nonsense of what Wall Street is doing. It doesn't make sense. And that's why Wall Street crashed across the board. What's also important to understand is what the White House is doing. The White House is doing a version of what Wall Street is doing, which is taking something that's out there and ignoring it. And what did it do last weekend and this week? It had members of Joe Biden's economic team out and taking facts and data and taking and telling you half of the data, and then the other data points that are not good for the administration, ignoring them or not acknowledging they even exist. What did they do? First, they said the labor market is really strong. Well, you can say that if you look at the unemployment rate, lowest since 1969. You don't see that if you look at the unemployment claims, which is 250, 260. Now, some analysts will say 250 is a great number. It's not a good number. When you look at corporate America, when you look at the major companies laying off tonight, and the companies that have been laying off, yesterday was Ford on this channel. It's 3,000. What was it yesterday? It was, I got it right here. Ford yesterday laid off 3,000. So according to CEO Jim Farley. Building the future requires changing and reshaping the virtual all aspects that we got to operate. This requires focus and clarity and speed. That's another way to say you're fired. HBO Max, Peloton laid off enormous numbers. Shopify, Remax, Walmart, Wayfair. Today was also they left out Coinbase. They left out a lot of other companies in that report. But this is to say that labor is really good. The American consumer doesn't believe it. I featured that report earlier this week where a large number of American workers believe they're going to be laid off. And tonight, 50% of work employers believe, 50% of employers believe they're going to shrink their workforce as well. So that is a half story by the White House. Next, that the recession is not happening. That is just a definition. Well, first, don't be so quick to say nothing is happening. Recessions take a while to manifest themselves. And a recession doesn't start in every state at the same time, doesn't hit every industry at the same time, and doesn't hit every business in the same industry at the same time. We've seen the impacts of recession hit retail this week when Target, which had guided downward in the month of May, June, and July, missed when they reported earnings. And yet, some of the competitors beat. BJ's was a discount wholesaler like Sam's Club or Target. Major beat. High-end, same situation. Estee Lauder high-end missed. And then Tapestry that owns Kate Spade and Coach, high-end brands, of course, the bags and more bags. A lot of baggage there. They beat really well. I guess lots of baggage does really well. Maybe ask that in Kentucky with the senator's office. But yeah, baggage, you're doing really well. Some industries really beating. And of course, we understand that Apple was projecting that they're going to sell as many iPhones this Christmas season as they did last year. Wow, that is great news. And of course, Apple shares have been straight up. Other companies have been straight down. So, the White House saying a half of a narrative is very dangerous because ultimately, if someone's telling you good times are here to stay, that's not good. Now, the White House was saying you have to be vigilant, but telling you that it's not a bad situation is a bad situation. Someone tells you everything is great data and doesn't tell you 3 or 4 of the data points and ignores them in the conversation, then you could get blindsided. This is what we're talking about with housing. What we're talking about with housing is that home builders who thought that they could keep the same price point in July that they had in January didn't get it. They didn't get those price points. And then they didn't slash the prices. Then they understood that the mortgage applications were dropping dramatically, 20% down, because no one could afford the mortgage rates that they are right now. Home builders didn't pivot. And guess what happened? There's no home builders building anymore, and just an about face out overnight. Too late to pivot? Yeah, I think it really is. Too much inventory? Not yet. When you go over to gasoline, quick to celebrate? Yeah, no, you don't celebrate just yet because we have all the problems that come in the fall with gasoline. You don't celebrate just yet at all. And that is why there's so many important points to watch on this channel on a given night. And I don't want you to miss on these points, whether it's left or whether it's right. There's so much to grasp here. Finally, you've been doing a great job. You've been doing a really good job. You have really taken the narrative of this channel and made it bigger and bolder. When we were covering checks on this channel 2 years ago, and I would say get around 3 to 4 months of rent, that's what you got. And then you took that to 10 months. Then you took it to 12 months. Now viewers are getting 4 months, 14 months, 14 months, not 4 months, 14 months. I don't have to say round anymore. Now viewers aren't getting just 14 months of rent. You heard me very clearly over the last 2 years. Get rent plus all utilities. Now they're getting rent and all their utilities. They're listening and learning. You want to be in all the live chats. You want to watch all the videos. And that's why last Sunday, this channel launched 2 new channels to join this broadcasting network. LALATE, which is now the number 3 most watched financial news network in America, now has 3 channels. LALATE 1, LALATE 2, and LALATE 3. Depending on which channel you're watching tonight, let me tell you what's going on. LALATE 1 was the original baby, but now LALATE 2 and LALATE 3 have joined the broadcasting family. On LALATE 2, you have your humor, and also you have your stimulus. On LALATE 3, you have your markets, your economy, and your cooking. 2 different channels, 2 different subject matters, something for all of you. If you become a member of any of the channels, you get the newsletter. And yes, I want to congratulate Paul as our first double hawk. Really exciting. A member of LALATE 2 and a member of LALATE 1. I want to thank Kiwanis, who became the first member of LALATE 2, and who's going to be the first member of LALATE 3. That's exciting. I'm looking to see who I can congratulate on camera as the first member of LALATE 3. That's very, very exciting. 2 new live shows in this broadcasting family. Wall Street Live, which airs during the daytime on LA3, features the latest details on your economy, and Stimulus Live, which has been a very, very popular show right out the door. It airs overnight, starting about 5:15 Pacific Standard Time on LALATE2. Wow, so much excitement. And then, of course, the website, LALATE.com, which started all nearly 22 years ago, features the latest details on your money. Go get all this incredible money. Become a part of this broadcasting family. Watch the shows. Watch the videos. Tell your friends and family come over. There's a lot of programming, a lot of shows, something for everyone, a family network where you're going to get informed, you're going to learn, you're going to earn, and you're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Programming continues throughout the night and all throughout this channel. Evenings are late every night at 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock is Countdown. Stream Stillness is 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock is Extra. 9 o'clock is Sunset. And then the program continues throughout the night. We're back on Early Mornings LA at 4 a.m. Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Mornings Countdown, I forgot, at 7 a.m. And then we're back at noontime until we go into our afternoon shows. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, thank you so much for being part of this incredible family. Don't forget to become a member. Go right on this video and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Become a member of LA 1, 2, or 3 and get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Or be a member of multiple channels. You can do any of the above. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to put that alert button to all on all channels so that you can alert when a new video comes live. Finally, if you missed the launch of LALATE 2 or LALATE 3, well, why don't we watch it? Why don't we watch it? I'm going to show you LALATE 2 and I'm going to show you LALATE 3, which debuted, of course, on Sunday. 2 new channels and lots of excitement and fun across the board. Want to see it? Here you go. The latest from LALATE 3 and LALATE 2. The excitement starts right now and continues nightly on this channel. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more. And here is LALATE 3.